Welcome back to BrainFLoTv again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Man, listen, look. So the elections are up on us, right? And a lot of people don't really know that the most important elections for you to actually vote in are those that govern your state and those that govern the city in which you live, right? Your county, your state, your city. Not so much the presidential election, but the presidential election gets all this fanfare. Billions of dollars are pumped into the presidential election. So we see the commercials everywhere. The ads are running on your Instagram, on your Facebook, on your Twitter. They're running on every single thing that's running out there. So my question to you is this. Are you going to vote in this election 2020? And are you going to vote Democrat or are you going to vote Republican? And why? Why are you voting Democrat or Republican? Don't just say, I'm riding with Biden. Don't just say, Trump is my man. I want to hear why. Okay? Now, before we go any further, let me just say this is really about Donald Trump actually telling us ahead of time that he has no plans to peacefully leave the White House. Man, listen. There are a lot of people out here right now that wants him to stay in there, and they seem like they are willing to do just about anything. I'm talking about people like armed militias, people like packing guns, citizens, people, and they will do anything, and they will be extremely upset if he loses, especially if he prolongs it by fighting the decision, which is what he plans to do already. So we're in for something. We don't know what it is. So check it out. President Donald Trump has refused on Wednesday to commit to a peaceful transition of power if he loses the election in 2020 to the Democratic nominee, who is Joe Biden. Well, we'll have to see what happens, he said. You know what? I've been complaining very strongly about the ballots, and the ballots are a disaster, Trump said at a White House news conference. It appears that Trump was referring to the mail-in ballot, which he has repeatedly condemned, without evidence, of course, as susceptible to massive fraud. That's his thing. Do away with the mail-in ballot. What type of stuff is that? Why are we mailing in ballots? But this is the same person that also said he will never wear a mask. There's no need to wear a mask. He'll never wear a mask, and his followers don't wear masks. So it was no surprise to see so many people out in the open who are Trump supporters who do refuse to wear a mask, even though we are at a 7 million and counting for COVID-19 infections and hundreds of thousands of deaths, right? This is the leader. No mask is needed. Anyhow, the president has been asked by a reporter if he would commit to a peaceful transfer of power, win, lose, or draw. When the reporter noted that people are rioting, sir, Trump replied, get rid of the ballots and you will have a very peaceful, there won't be a transfer, frankly, there'll be a continuation. So in other words, he is saying that if you get rid of those mail-in ballots, then he will definitely win the election. Why? Maybe because the people who are afraid to be out in huge crowds as our voting system demands, from what we've seen, around election time, a whole lot of people are out there in the streets, they're out there to vote, and we congregate in mass crowds. There are a lot of people right now who are saying, nope, I would prefer to vote through mail. I don't want to be out there in a crowd exposing myself to becoming COVID-19 positive. But Trump is saying, get rid of that ballot and we won't even have an issue. There will be no need to transfer power because we will be continuing another 4 years as president. Do you agree with this? Do you think that the mail-in ballot at this time should be done away with? Or do you think that it is very necessary and it gives people the ability to vote, which is their constitutional right, and at the same time remaining safe? I mean, for God's sakes, we're under COVID-19 rules, restrictions, guidelines, and regulations, and we've been here for a while, okay? So we've adjusted pretty much everything. We used to go outside without masks. Now most places have a big sign on their entry door saying, no mask, no service. So we've had to adapt to that. Our children have had to adapt to going to school, waking up in the morning and going to the living room to go sit on a computer and look at their teacher through a computer screen all day instead of getting dressed and going to an actual school in the morning. These kinds of things, we have made adjustments. So this, in my eyes, is just another adjustment. But do you think that it is an unnecessary adjustment? Do you think that the people of the United States of America should be made to come out and vote in masses, out in the open? Surely, millions of people showing up to vote, it would be impossible to have everybody stand 6 feet apart from each other. This is not social distancing. This is physical distancing. I can still socialize with you from 6 feet apart, but I am physically standing 6 feet away as the guidelines that they have put down according to health organizations that govern, right? Trump's campaign pushed back on criticisms of the president's answer and said that the premise of the question that the president was asked assumed that he would lose, which he naturally disagrees with, meaning there will not be a change in administration. So they're saying that what he was trying to say is he just thinks he's going to win the election. But that's not what his statement said. When the reporter asked him, people are rioting out there, sir, he replied, get rid of the ballots and you'll have a very peaceful, there won't be a transfer. Frankly, there'll be a continuation. That was his response, okay? He didn't say people are rioting out there and they need to go home and we're going to make sure that the place gets back to being safe. In other words, what I got from this was, don't worry about them rioting. They're rioting for the right reasons. Get rid of the ballot and you won't have to worry about that. You don't get rid of the ballot and they're going to continue to riot and I still won't have anything to say about that. Now, at this point, Trump and most Senate Republicans, especially Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Kentucky, have signaled eagerness to have Ginsburg's seat filled before November 3rd election. People, what this means, doing so would likely cement a conservative majority on the 9-member bench. I don't know if y'all remember the Supreme Court judge who recently passed away. I believe she passed away at 80-something years old from complications from pancreatic cancer, and that seat has to be filled. And he, the president, is the one who's electing or who's been charged with the responsibility of electing who sits that seat. Most naturally, he's going to put someone in that is a Republican and that has his back. Now, with that being laid in line, they're saying that I think this will end up in the Supreme Court as far as the decision to who is our new president. I think this will end up in the Supreme Court, is what they said, is what Trump said. I think this will end up in the Supreme Court. I think it's very important that we have 9 justices, and I think the system is going to go very quickly, he said. Trump said at the White House earlier on Wednesday. So his plan is to not leave the White House peacefully. He will contest the decision of the elections in November all the way to the Supreme Court and force the Supreme Court to decide, even after the people have voted, force the Supreme Court to decide who our next president is. The only way he will not contest the decision is if he is the winner. I'm going to just leave this one right here. Leave your comments in the comment section below. It's souflotv over here on BrainFLoTv, and I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out. Peace.